Hello and welcome to my new episode. This time it's just after first creating my world, as you probably saw in the last episode, where I made sort of an island atmosphere. And now I wanted to learn more about faces because my idea, and I want to talk about this concept, is that I would have like a statue. I'm not sure about the statue idea, but I'm gonna have a person with a bow and arrow on the side of the island, pointing towards the mountains in the distance, which you could see me draw. But my idea is that I'm gonna make that pretty large, because it's already quite a small scale, so that you can actually see the detail in the body. So I want to really focus on a really detailed looking face. I'm not sure if I can really make this look very realistic, but it's definitely gonna be artistic if I try to give a very unique, very like face-like shapes, and give it a 3D aspect with what I'm about to talk about. So yeah, so this is why I went over the faces video from the same course that I always use. So I'm gonna go through it. So first of all, he started with like a mirror, okay, and that's where you start making your outline of your face. And important is not to move the mirror, because once you move it, apparently it's very difficult to put it back. I'm not sure if you can undo it, but anyway, it's important that I don't move the mirror until I'm done with the mirror. Then the profile. So technically the beginning, like the outskirts and everything, is called the pro. I mean, no, the nose outskirts and the mouth outskirts. Like from the side, it would look like. Wait, you don't see this. Well, it would look something like forehead and then like eye, nose. I'm not good at this yet. I'll need to practice. And chin. Like that's the profile. So then you would put the mirror at this angle and draw from the outsides. Yeah, so it should be, you should try to roughly scale the size of the head. He gave a lot of tips, like, first of all, you can make like a line for the eye. And then you can play around with it. It's not like I have to be perfect on the first go. I can always select and move around. That's the freedom with Tilt Brush. So yeah, the mouth is generally, let's say there's an eye, well, I don't think you can see here because I'm drawing in black. Let me go to like red. So let's see the eyeball and the eyeball. The mouth should be between each eyeball. It seems quite big. I don't think the eyeball should be so wide. They should be close together. So yeah, it's good to use a sphere guide for the eye, and then usually you would start talk about. Well, let's just go on. And usually, if this is the eye, and I would mirror it the same size, this should be roughly this away from the other eye. So in this case, they're too far to be realistic. I mean, depends obviously, but on average. And generally, let's say you have the sphere, you would start with the eyelids and a bit of the eye or like underline. I don't know how you call that. Let me remove that. And then, yeah, so it's a good idea. In his case, he just drew everything in black. So let's say you have the thing, the head, and the eyes. Like he would then go to like a very light blue and use a recolor tool so that he knows that this specific color, he dedicates this color to being the guidelines. So this is not his final product. He's gonna erase all of these later. This is just for the making of the face. So as you see, this is mostly about the face and maybe the head shape. But I think that's the hardest part. Once I do that, I can really just focus with my own skills on and learning about all the brushes. I can make like the body. And my idea is it's hard to show because you don't see my arm. My idea is I have like my right arm forwards because and this I would use a bow, and then my left arm pulling like an arrow, and then like pointing quite upwards. And then that would be like the arm's shape, which I'll try to do. And then the statue idea was that I would like be on a pedestal or something. I think that would look really cool. I'm also planning to do sort of similar to my hairstyle because I'm used to that. And then so for the rough sketch, so that's the first part. The first part is like the guides. Then there's a rough sketch. So this is where you change color back to black usually, and then you do all the little lines. This is what always seems very difficult to start with because you're like, I don't know what's the right line, and I think I'm gonna feel like that when I do it. But I'm gonna try my best. And looking at the video, there's a lot of good tips. Like first of all, there's a jawline, and you'll be surprised. But let's say the jaw's here, the jaw goes quite far back, and then I think down. So there's a lot of things which can help it shape the face. Then the cheeks, so you can have like a little, I think, let's say you have the eyeball here, you can have the cheekbones here and here. It's hard to show, but yeah, that's the tip. Or it's not actually gonna look like in the final product. In the final product, later I talk about like using similar things to this. Let's say I would do like, I would make lots of different lines, maybe a bit thicker, so that it doesn't really look like just a line, it looks like a shape. Then creases are important, like for example the forehead creases, I don't know exactly, I think you do them like this, and then eventually comes to the hair. But yeah, that's sort of the idea of that. And finally the hair, so he said like the hair is sort of a place where you can sort of cheat. Oh, I have something there. So like, let's say you have the head shape, the hair, like even if you make sort of a mistake, you can just go on and go on and go on, and they overlap so much that any mistakes don't really show so much. Anyway, it's easy to erase one separate hair. And okay, and then the next one is to paint in the face. So in this case, this is this sort of third and final, or maybe almost final step, where you have all the shape of the head, of the face especially, and I guess the head, and then you try to paint it in. So usually, what he talked about first was 3D brushes, and I was also thinking this is quite a good idea. I don't know, probably matte is sort of boring. Unlit is pretty. Oh, no, unlit means, yeah, so matte has some shading, so that's better than unlit. Shiny is probably too shiny, depending what style you're going for. But let's say for a statue, you don't want that to be shiny. But this actually might be, I'm not sure, I need to choose. But this might be a cool idea. Like if you think about this, and then I could have like indents for different areas. Already this looks pretty cool in my opinion. Like, I think that would be so cool as a statue. But I might just implement this as a separate thing, sort of as like the Easter Island. I don't know how they're called, but those Easter Island looking things. I could have that around my island because it's literally fitting. It's an island. And then, but then I would like probably my character itself to be really as realistic as possible, or as detailed, because this sort of very simple. Then coarse bristles. So coarse bristles apparently is one of the most used ones. I can see why, because at first I was like, this is way too spread out. Let's say you have the face here, and you want to draw in this thing, you can see behind it, even if you make something here. So I didn't like that, but I noticed once he drew a lot and very detailed, so it would zoom in, like this, like, you can hardly see behind it. And again, I think, for me, and probably what I'm gonna do, is that, I'm trying to explain my process, because later I'm just gonna make like a speed run of what I did. But let's have a similar color, I can put it in the background. So then it still has the texture, but you can see that it's a filled in color. So let's say it wouldn't just be there, but like I would add it throughout the whole face. So then the whole face will look like that, and then in front of it I'll make all the details. I think that's a good idea. Well, I'll probably brainstorm throughout. And then also it's important to think, especially with this, oh wait, not that brush, especially with the coarse bristles, that the direction makes quite a big difference. So let's say, I think the main one is a cheekbone. Like, you want to start from the middle of the eye, and then go out, and that gives a flow, sort of. Let's say like that. It gives a flow of direction and motion to the texture. Then you can move the light source. So this is something I've never done, so I thought it's very important to keep it in here. I think it's under lights, yeah. So I've never actually used this, but I'm pretty sure it's quite simple enough for me not to need to make a whole video on it. So there's this light source, and you can see even the shadows. So now you can see the shadows are going through this shape, which is quite useful. I'm playing around for the first time here, but I want to explain it while I learn. So yeah, so the light definitely comes from the direction into the shape. So in this case, coming from that direction. So let's say if you look at this background here, actually, if I go here, that's quite dark now. Now it's really dark. And if it goes under, it's like nighttime. And then the night moon does illuminate a bit as well. So it's like a slight illumination, and then this is a very bright illumination. But I think that's really cool, and you can have like underlighting even. I really like this concept and the way it's put together. Okay, so you can change the color of the light. That's really cool actually, that can give a really cool vibe. Because I was thinking, let's say from my creation it's an island, maybe there. So let's say, oh, that's hard to get the perspective of. Wait. So yeah, okay, never mind. Let's say this is the island, and I'm looking. That's the mountain. I'm looking into the sunset. I think that would look so cool, because then the lighting goes straight onto the statue where the arrow will be pointing, and it's not too bright. And I'm gonna also try to make it maybe red or a slightly less strong of a color. So it gives this moonlight, or not moonlight, but like this, like sunset vibe, this orangey sunset, like the cocktail background that I made last episode. So I think this is a good way for me to put my ideas together. Oh, it's actually really dark. Let me put the lights back. Okay. Whoa. Okay, so you can really brighten up things. This almost looks like, I don't know, it looks like a different type of brush now. It's hard to explain. Okay, I think that's roughly the normal color. But yeah, so I think I'm putting my ideas together here so I can show my thought process and also get better ideas so I can make something more cool. And use more tools that I've learned. Such as like I already use environments, the backdrop. I haven't learned about backdrop yet. I'll probably learn that while I go, because that's something you can easily do mid project. Anyway, let's go on. So I can move the light source, then I can build up paler 3D layers. So what he meant by that is that like you have lots of coarse bristles areas. It's actually pretty cool to see how the light is much brighter here than here. So it's already paler there. But usually when you go forwards, he wants you to use slightly of a paler color. I mean, usually the lighting anyway goes on it easier. But then that gives it a bit more texture, a bit more, I don't know, feeling. It makes it less monotone. And then it's important, let's say if you make the whole face, like it may look okay from here. Once you look at it from the back or from the side, it doesn't look like a face anymore. So you always have to look from all different angles. So I'm constantly going to be looking around. Then interesting is, let's say you made the face without the mirror. I think I would only use this if I forgot to. But let's say you have the nose and everything. Then you can select all these. And then you can... This could take quite a lot of perfection to get it right. Which one was it? Flip selection. Oh no, wait, okay. So then you would copy it. And then flip this selection. And you could put the face together. And if it's well made, this could actually look like a full face. So that doesn't look too bad. The shape here is wrong. It's too thick. But it would work if you made a proper face. So that's a sort of a backup option. And finally, non-symmetrical like shapes and everything gives you more personality. So the idea, I'm gonna make a face again. The idea he gave here was like, for example, okay, that's too red. With the face, like making it like this is sort of boring. Making it like a smirk. It's hard to show when it's such a bad drawing, but making a little smirk can make it more give it more personality. Therefore, you shouldn't always use a mirror. I probably am gonna use a mirror until I'm confident with all my shapes, until near the end of the paint in face, like step, and then I'm gonna probably erase some shapes here and there to add some stuff, or to add some angles. But yeah, that's it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. And hopefully next time we'll have a cool looking face. Bye.